Chapter 2. New Chapter. The best way to move forward is by standing still. Still like a wave that carries a water column underneath it. It appears still, but inside it moves ever new waters and thus extends itself in time-space and gives a perceivable impression of movement for the observer. But for the wave's perception, it is a still standpoint of the totality of its existence. We might dispute about an abstract phenomenological appearance of things. It's not what we aim to do here. What's underneath these concepts and impressions is way more important, life-changing even, if you'd wish so. And you all wish for so much of the change. Always, always wishing. Hopefully from a satisfied totality of waves, not dissatisfied complaints. Here we are extending our energetic arm for you to grab it, to reconnect with us. It doesn't have to be serious all the time. We wouldn't like you to develop such a complex towards spirituality and living wisely. The ability to have fun along the way of overcoming your burdens is a very spiritually advanced quality, improving life around you immensely. Have fun with your life. You will not lose focus by loosening the grip, so tight, so intense, so overbearing. Sometimes we think you manage to deal with things only by producing tension. But it's a side effect that needs another round of treatment. Maybe we might think as much and you disagree, that's okay. We are here to assist you in whichever way or form it is suitable to you. We do not aim to convince you, but to reach out, to reconnect with your essence. We stand way closer to ours, so we might be energetically reminding you of that connectedness level. It's tense and dull going in the opposite direction. Loosening up and having fun is a side effect of going in this direction. So we invite you to start noticing when you feel like loosening up or under which circumstances you spontaneously crack jokes and feel like having childish fun. Those are key moments because they shall substitute all the tension-bringing paradigms with their so plentiful realities that you still find yourself caught in from time to time. One area after the next, one topic then the next, and so the lightful spirits shall spread in you. For you've come down to earth not to cry about its heaviness. You came here to uplift it. Start doing it with yourself and the surroundings will follow. Like an amber that catches a fire and starts roaring, starts spreading in its surroundings. The flame doesn't need to care about spreading, just about burning. The winds will carry the flames where they are needed, where they can burn continuously, where there are enough dry and ready to burn materials. And so do you, like that amber, becomes a flame from time to time when the circumstances allow it. But to start spreading, igniting other objects or subjects in that regard, you need constant burning, steadiness in conviction to keep up the flame, from an amber to becoming a beacon of light. I'm quite touched by this realization. Moment by moment we approach our destiny, always retrieving a step further when we seem to have made a step towards it. An everlasting journey it is, a joyous one, if you may choose so, on this, our planet. We always knew destiny to be like a shooting star, so pretty to look at and so fleeting from the skies of our observation. Like a canvas that is stretched in front of us, displaying a set of images, defining our moment. The each and every moment we live as a species, as a race, as a totality of all living organisms on this, our planet. We celebrate each day as if it were our last one, because it will never put us in this exact position in space among stars and galaxies ever again. The time is fleeting, like a single shooting star following the path of its demise till extinguishment, till it's just a meteorite, no more than dust of a rock, once so shiny. We get mesmerized by her glow only when touched by a human eye, looking for miracles and then finding one. Who look, those find. We gather our wisdom from experiences, the journey we embark upon. We gather the insight more than we would any treasure stone. Its value is fleeting, as only applied in given circumstances and times will it prove itself to be of value. Treasures remain hidden and fixed in their potential unless unpacked in actions of kindness and grace towards oneself and others. My heart is racing, for I have found my future foundation, one tiny being turning my world upside down. I'm anticipating the wished-for results, a phone call, an email with a news, an invitation. Will it lead to disappointment again? I disagree. I will keep on trying no matter the results or the outcomes. I disagree with the idea of temporary success. It has to be holistic. It has to serve future purposeful creations. So if it fits long term, if it matches the vision, if the open door leads to further doors, I want to connect to this future's alternative. If it leads to accompanying other wishes' fulfillments, if my mind is at peace with it eventually seeing the righteousness of its existence long term, I want to engage in it. If my mind is fixated on something, there has to come a release of tension in the form of going forward with it or changing the direction altogether. If it doesn't happen, I keep my focus steady to form a conclusion, an energy culmination of some sort. And it always leads to a breakthrough, no matter which form. But that's how it goes forward. It goes on. I do not mind the waiting. It is a form of inner circling around the topics surrounding the inner wish. It is a way of seeing how under-wavering the inner conviction is. It is a form of testing the trueness of desire against the measures of one's own heart compass. True wishes, true heart wishes don't dissipate. They do not change shapes unrecognizably. They do not belong to other people's wishing upon us. They do not oblige to societal norms. But they stay steady, ingrained, surrounded by feelings that sometimes need clearance, like heavy clouds weighing with rain. It has to rain tears, anger, frustration first, for the rainbows to appear as the heart's desires shine from within, from their own eternal source of power. Their pureness can be seen when hindering beliefs are cleared from the way of manifestation. Maybe that's what can be called a shooting star, a wish born from within, in the deepest depths of the human cosmos, finding its way towards consciousness through cosmic debris, left as a byproduct of some mysterious creations unknown to mankind. Left unseen, it moves from within outwards while burning in its element. If unrecognized, the fuel that was meant to keep it glowing might be left exhausted. We might remain without much change if not touched by those deeply felt cosmic desires, and that is the greatest danger. What would my mind become if human evolution stopped its nature, exploring new realms? My mind is now fixated on being seen in places. Her presence is not to be found hiding from treasure's light. Light shines from within. Its forms are many, many light years unseen. We discover them still being alive within us. If not treated, wounds won't disappear, no matter how many lifetimes they are kept hidden. Same with fears, same with desires. When wishes are born, they nest in our souls, creating patterns for future recognition, like a web design storing the information, catching whatever precious needed to sustain the wish's existence, material. We might believe to have buried childhood's innocence, but our souls will never be able to forget how joyful the creation, unraveling, unwrapping, disentangling of our truest beliefs are. Manifestation is a real and believable joy of life, meant as a tool and toy for everyone to play with on their own terms. True beliefs are of a cosmic nature, resembling our spirit's call for discovering our greatest of belief or no belief, purposeful creation of our own experiences. True souls remain untouched. We can always trace our way back by following the light of a shooting star. So within, so without. No truer belief than that will help us out more than this one in our lives, as unconscious creators of life. We will always have our anchor in the spiritual realm, it being kindness or wisdom or both. Two wings of an eagle raising its view way above the ground. From there, unattached, we can gain perspective in life and relax, releasing the passing and temporary nature of all phenomena and factual circumstances in life. Sometimes change comes by force to awaken us, to give us an opportunity and get rid of the cosmic debris, clouding our vision towards the guiding light source. Other times it's our own inner commitment that drives us to lead the change and reform the existing shapes of our circumstances. A new phase in one's life begins after the stillness of time appears to an outer observer. Nothing in return becomes clear to the outer observer as well. The mind's inner creature becomes only then friendlier when the exterior matches the soul's wished-for results. The mind's inner creature drives you crazy until you manage to figure out ways to move forward in the wished-for direction and find peace with each step of the process, progress, or lack thereof. Back the mind sets off, and you'll discover dark demons in the form of self-blame, anger, mind game, making you neglect most valued things in life. And it happened to me as well once or twice. I was spun into the beliefs that created world upon world for me to believe in. Working with South American medicinal plants just enhanced this effect, painting the futures I so very much clung onto. It's a very sad game, stemming from sadness, the need to picture a reality and hold on to it with dear life, just to not fall into the now plane where the picture is not as pretty, not as pleasing, not emotionally rewarding. The mind found an escape mechanism and convinced me that what I see is my bright future and I am predestined to be part of it, only if I hold on to this belief tight enough. It painted visions of a married couple, of 2 children who are waiting to be mine, of a big own designed house with a loving community living inside its territory. These are all deep wounds reversed in exaggerated wished-for mindsets. Now that I have come around and healed the majority of those thought patterns related to the generational trauma and my own heritage from past lives, I come to realize how desperate those future depicting pictures in my mind's eye were. And it made me sad, because for one I feel like I have told the world lies. My surroundings listened to me when I talked about my future manifestations of how plentiful the richness of the emotions will be. I painted a very concrete picture of my life as an older adult, but now I have come around and I start not believing in those future visions anymore. I think I have defeated those inner demons and made shadows into lights. How can I undo the seeming harm? I feel I will prove my worth and good appreciation worthy qualities only if I follow up on my words and create those realities that I talked so much about, my greatest wishes and set in stone depictions. But at this moment in time I am more willing to admit that I was wounded, I was hurt and desperately sought even an illusionary friend, and therefore I created him. My visions were my safe haven, and even with them I struggled to maintain a sanctuary in my core. I am ashamed to admit that I don't know what my future looks like and how my life is going to be. I am deeply questioning the role of my imagination and what power it can have over my thinking process. I am wounded and I am hurt. I am healing and I am safe. Things I clung to now seem not so as important, and I don't feel them pulling me in their direction anymore. Only the mind that is still clinging, still confused about what the right action should be. But I've got wise enough to know that the mind plays games and the feelings indicate directions. My today's direction is set by the most joyous and easy feeling path. My past direction ignores the actual feelings and imagines them being a part of my life in some close or distant future under the imaginary circumstances. But the actual feelings were those I didn't want to look at, until I had no other choice because they started taking my inner world apart and I didn't know anymore where is up and where is down. Now I believe I know where the stable, more grounded basis is. And that is my set direction, keeping close to the ground, head not in the clouds, looking just in front of my feet, feeling the soil underneath my bare steps. Nothing further, nothing more. The sensation it gives me is richer than any future vision could paint. And I want to say I'm sorry to everyone who fell into my mind's trap and believed the manifestational progress I painted or the success of it. I feel deeply humbled now to have come to realize my limitations and the vastness of times that are yet to come. What they will hold, I do no longer pretend to know. And if my happiness is dependent on some circumstances and I feel like failing life's mission by not accomplishing it, I now know I must be falling somewhere short. To be happy, feeling content is not a matter of exterior influence. These great visions are just the same as saying that I will not feel satisfied until I can purchase that red vase or get that toy to play. It's just wrapped in fancy gift paper of New Age spirituality, but what's inside is not more than a toy, and I cry for not having it to play with. This is no solace. This is a game with the goal of non-contempt. And although the mind is elaborate enough to have kept me spiraling, I have also observed the drawbacks and saw the cracks, providing nothing stable for the actual near future that I have the decisive power of. It kept me spiraling in long term, full-blown realities when, in fact, what I needed and still need is just a bit of being a friend to myself. Saying that it's all right to feel sad, the world is not breaking apart, and the loving and supportive presence will always be by my side. Even if I don't dare to ask for help, a friend will extend the hand just to make sure that I don't feel left alone going through life's journeys. I don't need future visions. I don't need alternative parallel timelines to jump into them as to escape this one. For the feeling of having a friend makes me see that I already have enough right where I am, in this timeline, in this universe's corner. I'll make sure from now on not to forget to hold my own hand and see where this feeling takes me. Maybe I will return with another book telling a story of how this approach led me only to some extent and how it is redundant in following the need to find inner guidance. But for now, this is the story I am telling, and it sure is less spectacular, less dramatic, less hurtful and less self-hurting than the previous one. But it is spacious, it is calmer, it allows me to breathe and actually tap into the moment of absolute stillness, where my focus is in my body and not in some faraway places I imagine to become real one day. The focus lies in stillness of the mind. Knowing its power can be useful, but letting it overpower the calm, and most of the time, inaudible voices can be misguided. Truth is in the unspoken but sensible, supreme manifestation of our bodies, speaking to us through the data stored in each atom our bodies consist of. They've seen the big oceans and our ancestors. They've seen how the planet was born and the solar system created. They've been at the hottest cores of the stars and merged into galaxies. They've even been in black holes and got spat out and had an experience of bouncing back with its antimatter and of coming back to invisible to the matter continuum. They have been pure potential. They have kept their appearance for the sake of sustaining our bodies in a given form. They have been at the edge of material creation, where they sometimes existed in a form, sometimes as an energy. They no longer spin their orbits around the strongest gravitational pull because our souls have gathered them to maintain our realities. Our individual consciousnesses are the greatest attraction pull. Our mind just makes sure that the atoms keep spinning, releasing energy for our bodily movements, for our soul's creations, and for unnatural ways to create our lives. Harsh to say such things like unnatural way. If it exists, it is how nature allowed it to appear. Minds just simply alternate what would perfectly organize itself without those interventions. Nothing more left to say. We think the mind is essential for creating our lives. I'd like to try to know how it is to live a life without mind's alterations, but rather listening deeply to what's there, but untold, to discover secrets our minds know nothing about. I feel quite hyped about this perspective, for the mind has painted me a picture and told me to expect that. Now I embark on a path full of new discoveries, and I like surprises. Therefore, I go. Can you see me waving my hand with a bright smile on my face while I pass you by, eager to see what comes next? Keen observatory eye on perspectives unknown to us. It has to be keen, eager, open. How else could it become visible to us, sitting behind the veil separating what's known from the unknown? Kind eyes approaching deliberate creation of borders, being moved a bit further into intangible realities of others. We don't mean only humans, we mean other consciousness units, bodies, clumps of collective experiences. Pretending to feel closely connected when, in fact, this masquerade is pretty much known to everyone else exploring realms of psyche. Resurrecting in known environments, although you were created with capacity yet unexplored. Aren't you primarily warriors, hunters, house builders? And yet so simply, you can reside in old paradigm shifts instead of looking at what's about to manifest in your world. We do not encourage old traditions. In fact, we do not encourage anything that is timely passing. We resurrect in knowing that your approach is supposed to change based on nowadays occurring events worldwide. Separate traditions become not so separate anymore, and mindsets relate to each other based on higher connections, not geographical distance. Yours too. We shall explain it in quantum mechanical terms. An atom can replicate itself an endless amount of times. Its occurrences present themselves in myriad different ways. Yet, it is the same atom if brought back in time to the original one. Complexity varies across universes. Yours is peculiar in one certain way. No matter, no antimatter can fully simultaneously go back to the continuum, even for the smallest tangible measurable amount of time, meaning the space never ceases its presence, its existence as a material form. For the longest periods of time you will retrieve to this state of form in a human, rock, animal, or other planetary body form. Your approach is towards gaining the perspectives, and if you cannot see it now, you will from the other's viewpoint in near future. Either it will bounce back to you in a conflict or in sharing a loving perspective. Either way, you'll be confronted with perspectives all day long, given that you are form. Maybe we approach you in a bit of dirty, rocky, edgy scenery. From time to time, we all need to come close to a cliff, even if not to do anything but just look at this contrast. It too can be tangible, approachable, and even desirable. From our perspective, smooth and even can only end up in a dirty, rocky, edgy change of scenery. Hold on to one state tightly, and the universe, God, Spirit, will pretty much mobilize all its forces for you to loosen up that grip, even if it means breaking a finger for the most stubborn ones. Hold the hand open, and the whole ocean world will fit into it. The universe, God, Spirit, doesn't consider space-time limitations, and you are seen as limitless too. Way more strength is needed in approaching the limits than holding a barrier up and tight. That's why you are so mesmerized by heroic stories, bravery, and enduring the harshest circumstances. Just the same, the feminine approach is the most courageous when confronting harshness with softness, staying instead of going. And yet you do need both to some extent to embody personal power, generosity, generously pouring your hearts out. We too know how the hearts can feel when they're seen what's to be seen in your world of forgetfulness and seeming separation. It is the enduring part in cosmic consciousness evolution. Beaming violet light onto your existence, we believe to have come at the right time to support you on the journey of your authenticity becoming a more important, more significant part of your own internal preferencing. It takes courage to show true colors in pictures, melodies your human personas create reflecting a circumstance. Pets, animals, they know nothing of adapting to fit others' needs, neglecting their own individuality. If they suffer consequences because of it, they simply suffer, but not at the cost of becoming somebody they are not. Maybe they too have a choice to hide their characters. Even if so, they do not choose to neglect their own. They behave differently based on surroundings, but need zero time of adjustment when changed to a new zone. Does it sound like it applies to you, human?